Morning light slid over Neria, turning mist and river into pale gold. Mira did not. She stood at the river's edge, fins along her arms tense. Behind her, the round stone homes of the Cyrene village glowed faint blue. In one of those homes, her son Kale still slept. Mira was a healer. Years ago, when a deadly sickness hit the village, she had worked without rest. Children collapsed, gills slowing. Even Kale faded. The elders whispered that their people would die. Then the Oridian syndicate arrived. Their black ship cut through the sky like a knife. Their agents brought silver vials and humming machines. The sickness vanished in days. Children woke. Kale smiled again. In return, they asked for only a contract. Mira remembered the glowing screen, the tiny writing, the words about future labor. She had not understood everything. She had only seen one thing: sign, and Kale lives. So she signed. Now, 10 years later, the river grew quiet. The wind fell still. Birds stopped singing. A weight pressed on Myra's chest. She looked up. A shadow crawled over the village. A ship pushed through the clouds, long and angular, covered in red lines. At its center shone a mark she knew too well, the symbol of the Oridian Syndicate. "No," she whispered. The vessel slowed above the central clearing, then dropped, engines roaring. Cyrene stepped out of their homes, staring up in fear. The ship landed with a metallic thud. Hatches opened. Tall armored figures marched out, black plates stacked like scales, red visors burning. Collectors. Their leader walked at the front in heavier armor, a dark cloak brushing the grass. Marshal Varkan. His voice boomed through hidden speakers. "Mira of the Cyrene. Step forward." The crowd parted. She stood alone in the open, heart pounding. "You carry a debt," Varkan said. "It remains unpaid. Today we take what is owed." "We sent crystals," Mira said. "Herbs. Workers for your stations. We have nothing left." "You have one thing left," Varkan replied. "Your offspring." The word hit like a blow. "Kale. He is a child," she said. "Please." "He will work," Varkan said. "Your debt will shrink. The contract is clear." She saw again the clerk sliding the contract toward her while Kale lay barely breathing. She had not thought of future labor. She had thought only of one more breath. Two collectors stepped toward her, boots thudding on the ground. The crowd watched, frozen. Mira turned and ran. Her feet pounded the path to her home. She pushed the door open. Kale sat up on his mat, eyes heavy with sleep. "Mother?" he asked. "What's happening?" She pulled him into her arms. "Listen," she whispered. "Whatever happens, do not let go of my hand. Promise." His small fingers locked around hers. "I promise." Metal footsteps shook the walls. Mira pulled Kale outside. The collectors waited, black armor gleaming, red visors fixed on them. Marshal Varkan stood between her and the syndicate ship. "Last chance," he said. "Give us the child." Myra's voice shook, but the words were firm. "You will not take him." "As you wish," Varkan replied. His arm lifted. A roar crashed down from above. Heads snapped upward as a second ship broke through the clouds. It was smaller than the syndicate vessel. It dropped toward the field and slid to a stop between Mira and the collectors. Dust exploded outward, forcing everyone to shield their faces. For a moment there was only the hiss of cooling metal. Then the new ship's hatch opened. A single figure stepped out. Tall, in light armor of smooth plates instead of heavy metal. No helmet. Human skin. Short dark hair. Calm blue eyes that moved over the Cyrene, then over the collectors. Mira stared. She had heard stories of humans, brave and reckless. Now one of them stood in her village, between her son and the people who had come to claim him as debt. And this human did not look afraid at all.
Dust settled slowly around the strange new ship. The collectors froze, unsure whether to fire or wait. Mira held Kale close, her breath trembling, her mind racing. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Most Cyrene had only heard rumors, strange stories about humans who challenged empires, survived ambushes, and fought with a wild kind of courage. Now one of them was here, and he had landed right between her son and the syndicate. The human stepped forward, boots sinking lightly into the soft earth. His armor wasn't bulky like the collector's gear. It was smooth, almost soft-looking, formed from flexible plates that shimmered faintly under Neria's pale sun. He carried no massive weapon. Only a slender device rested on his hip. He looked calm, too calm. His eyes landed on Mira for half a heartbeat, steady, focused, then shifted to Varkin. "Marshal," the human said, voice steady and strangely warm. "You're done here." Collectors raised their rifles instantly. Varkin lifted a hand, stopping them. "And who?" the marshal demanded. "Is this another foolish wanderer from Terra? Speak your name." The human didn't blink. "My name is Jackson Reed." Then he added, "I'm here to prevent you from taking that child." A stunned silence rolled through the village. Varkin's visor flickered red. "This is syndicate business. Humans have no authority here." "Good thing I'm not here for authority," Jackson replied. "I'm here because someone has to say no." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Myra's heart thudded painfully. Was he insane? The syndicate crushed planets. Their soldiers obeyed orders without emotion. No one stood in their way. Ever. Varkin stepped closer, towering over Jackson. "You plan to die for this, Cyrene?" he growled. "No," Jackson said softly. "I plan to make sure you leave without him." Before Mira could blink, one of the collectors lunged forward, swinging the butt of his rifle at Jackson's head. Jackson moved. Not fast like a blur, but fast like someone who had studied 1,000 battles and memorized the rhythm of violence. He ducked the swing, grabbed the soldier's wrist, twisted, and slammed the collector into the ground with a sharp crack of armor. The rifle fell from stunned fingers. A second soldier fired. Jackson stepped aside. The bolt cut through empty air. He flicked his own weapon up, a small, simple pistol, and shot once. A flash of blue light struck the soldier's armor, shorting the circuits and dropping him to one knee. No kill shots. He wasn't trying to slaughter them. He was trying to end the fight without ending lives. Mira had never seen movement like this. There was no hesitation in him, no panic. He fought like the battle was a puzzle he had already solved. Kale whispered, "Mama, is he real?" She didn't know how to answer. Two collectors rushed him at once. Jackson leapt back, letting them crash into each other. Another aimed from a distance. Jackson threw a small disc that exploded into a bright flash of white. The shooter cried out as his visor overloaded. Varkin roared, "Enough!" The marshal lifted a heavy cannon from his hip, humming with unstable red energy, and aimed it straight at Jackson. Jackson didn't move. His eyes stayed locked on Varkin, calm as still water. Mira felt her stomach drop. That weapon could tear through stone, metal, even flesh in an instant. "Step aside," Varkin ordered, "or I bury you here." Jackson finally spoke. "Last warning, Marshal." Varkin sneered. Human arrogance. He fired. The blast shot forward like a streak of fire. Jackson slammed a button on his wrist. A faint translucent barrier shimmered to life. The red beam smashed into the shield, bending around it like light around a mirror, carving a burning line into the dirt. The impact forced Jackson back a few steps, but he held his ground. Mira gasped. Even Varkin froze. Jackson lowered his arm. The shield shimmered weakly, nearly gone. "I don't want to hurt your men," he said, breath steady. "But you take that child, and this gets ugly." Collectors shifted uneasily. Anyone could see it now. This human was different. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't bluffing. And something about him, something in his stance, felt like he had faced much worse before. Varkin growled, "You are one man. We are 30. You cannot win." Jackson glanced over his shoulder at Mira and Kale. "I don't need to win," he said softly. "I just need to buy them time." Then he turned back to the collectors. Round 2. The syndicate soldiers opened fire, and Jackson Reed charged straight into the storm.
Blaster fire rained across the clearing, streaks of red cutting through the morning air. Jackson moved before the first bolt struck the ground. His body twisted, rolled, leapt, always one step ahead, always out of reach. Collectors shouted orders, trying to tighten their formation, but he slipped through the gaps like water through fingers. Villagers watched from behind trees and rooftops. None dared breathe too loudly. This was no ordinary fight. Jackson Reed wasn't just skilled, he fought as if he had rehearsed the entire battle long before it began. But the syndicate was adjusting. They were ruthless, efficient, and far from slow learners. Mira pressed Kale against her chest as she crouched behind a fallen log. Jackson's ship shielded part of the field, but every blast shook her bones. Kale whispered, "Is he losing?" "No," Mira whispered back, but her voice shook. "Not yet." Two collectors tried to flank Jackson. He spun, using the terrain, stones, roots, broken pottery, to change angles. He shot one soldier's gauntlet, forcing it to overload, then swept the second's legs with a low kick. But his shield was gone now. He was exposed. A soldier fired from behind a large root cluster. "Behind you!" Mira cried without thinking. Jackson reacted instantly. He ducked, snatched a loose rock, and hurled it with brutal accuracy. It struck the soldier's visor, cracking it. Sparks flew. Varkin snarled. "Enough of this nonsense. All units, take him alive if possible. Dead if needed." Collectors switched tactics. Their fire became coordinated, controlled, a web of energy bolts meant to trap him. Jackson's breaths grew faster. His movements sharpened, still powerful, but strained, like he was calculating too many steps at once. He caught Myra's eyes for a heartbeat. "Mira. When I give the word, run to my ship." She blinked in shock. "I don't know how to fly it. Just trust me." She didn't like those words. She didn't like how calm he sounded saying them. A collector lunged forward, trying to grab him. Jackson stepped into the soldier's momentum, seized his arm, and flipped him into another attacker. Armor clattered. Dust sprayed. Still, more came. Varkin activated his heavy weapon again. The cannon's red glow intensified, casting long shadows. "You cannot protect them forever, human. Surrender and I may spare your life." Jackson wiped sweat from his brow. "You talk too much. Fire." The cannon unleashed a massive blast. Jackson dove behind a stone pillar, the beam shearing it in half. Broken chunks rained around him. He rolled out of the dust cloud and sprinted toward Mira. "Get ready," he shouted. A collector aimed at him from the side. Another from above. Jackson slid across the ground, grabbing a fallen soldier's shield, using it to deflect the incoming bolt. He slammed the metal plate into the second soldier's helmet, knocking him backward. But this time he didn't return to the center of the fight. He ran toward Mira and Kale. "Move," he ordered, grabbing Myra's wrist. The three sprinted for his ship as blaster fire tore up the earth behind them. Kale stumbled, but Mira lifted him with a desperate burst of strength. "Open," Jackson commanded. The ship doors slid aside instantly, reacting to his voice. Mira pulled Kale inside. The interior glowed with soft blue light, sleek, clean, nothing like the cold syndicate craft. Jackson jumped in after them. But something changed. The air around him shimmered. A faint hum grew louder. The ship's lights flickered. The ground rumbled beneath their feet. Mira froze. Jackson. His body wavered like a reflection in broken water. "No," he muttered under his breath, eyes wide with understanding. "Not now." Varkin stopped firing. Even the collectors paused. A bright pulse erupted around Jackson, distorting space. Lines of white energy wrapped around him, twisting like vines. Mira reached out. Jackson! Get Kale out of here, he shouted. Then the energy flashed, blinding. When the light faded, Jackson Reed was gone. Not wounded. Not captured. Simply gone, like he had been pulled through a crack in the world. The collectors stared in disbelief. Mira didn't move for several seconds. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. Her hands shook. Kale clung to her side, terrified. Varkin raised his cannon again. The human is gone. Take the child. That snapped her mind back into motion. The ship's console lit up by itself. A calm artificial voice spoke. Mira. Kale. Please take your seats. We must leave now. Who is that? Mira whispered. Jackson activated me before he disappeared, the AI said. You are in danger. I will guide you. Blaster fire resumed outside. Mira pulled Kale into the cockpit. The door sealed behind them. The engines roared beneath her feet. Hold on, the AI warned. The ship blasted upward, leaving the village, the collectors, and the empty space where Jackson had been. Mira looked out the window one last time, whispering, Where did you go? Jackson. The sky swallowed their escape. And the chase had only begun. The ship punched through Neria's cloud layer, leaving the village far below. Mira gripped the armrests so hard her fingers hurt. Kale sat pressed against her side, shaking. The engines roared like an angry beast, vibrations rattling through the metal floor. Outside the viewport, the sky darkened from violet to black. Stars appeared, cold, distant, unhelpful. Mira had spent her whole life beneath those stars, never imagining she would fly among them. Never imagining she would be hunted through them. The calm voice returned. Do not panic. I am LUX 7. I will keep you alive. Mira swallowed. You knew Jackson? Yes. He unlocked me shortly before landing. He suspected the syndicate would escalate. Did he know he would disappear? Mira asked, voice barely steady. The AI paused, as if thinking. He anticipated a disruption. He did not know the timing. Mira closed her eyes. She didn't know whether to feel comfort or despair. Jackson had risked everything, maybe more than he understood. A shrill alarm suddenly cut through the cockpit. Mother? Kale whispered. What is that? On the display, red dots blinked into existence behind them. Then more. Then more. Myra's stomach twisted. Syndicate ships. A whole wing. They followed us, she gasped. Correct, LUX 7 said. They activated trackers embedded in the contract signature years ago. They always planned to reclaim the child. Mira felt cold down to her bones. Then what do we do? We fight. But this vessel cannot win a direct battle. You must help me. I don't know how to fly, she said, panic rising again. I will guide you. The AI highlighted a glowing ring on the console. Mira reached toward it with trembling hands. The moment her fingers touched the controls, the ship responded like a living creature waking from sleep. Its nose dipped, engines shifted, and it rolled sharply to the left just as a bolt of red fire streaked past. Kale squeaked and clung to his seat. Hold on, little one, Mira whispered, voice trembling. 3 syndicate fighters swooped in behind them, cannons blazing. Mira twisted the controls instinctively. The ship darted right, then upward, moving faster than she believed possible. The tail end of a blaster shot grazed the hull, lighting it with sparks. Good, LUX 7 said. Again. Mira pulled back. The ship shot upward in a steep arc, causing her stomach to lurch. The fighters overshot, spinning in confusion. Another alarm rang, shrill, urgent. Missiles locked. Missiles. Mira yelped. Deploying countermeasures. Prepare for recoil. Small metallic pods shot from the ship and exploded into clouds of bright particles. The missiles twisted toward them, then veered off course, erupting in dazzling bursts of light. Kale stared at the glowing fragments. It's like stars breaking. Mira didn't have time to marvel. Another wave of fighters appeared ahead, forming a blockade. Brace yourselves, LUX-7 warned. A blinding flash burst from the front cannons, an intense cone of blue light that forced the syndicate ships to break formation. Mira seized the moment, jerking the ship downward into a narrow gap. The vessel thundered between two syndicate fighters, close enough for Mira to see their pilots behind dark visors. She held her breath until the ship cleared the blockade. They're still chasing, she panted. Yes. This ship cannot outrun them for long. Then what are our options? Silence. Then. A dangerous one. Mira tensed. Explain. This ship carries an ancient hypercore. If I overload it for a moment, we can enter slipspace and jump far beyond syndicate reach. That sounds deadly. If timed incorrectly, yes. Mira looked at Kale. His small eyes were full of fear, yet trust. He believed in her. She had no right to fail him. Do it, she said. Whatever it takes. Very well. Hold the controls steady while I prepare the overload. The lights dimmed. The air cooled. The entire ship hummed as energy built in the core. Behind them, syndicate ships closed in, weapons glowing hotter, brighter, ready to fire. 3 seconds, LUX-7 warned. A fiery blast shook the rear hull. Panels flickered. Sparks dropped from the ceiling. 2 seconds. Another strike. Warning lights flared crimson. Kale cried out as Mira held him close with one arm. 1. A syndicate warship appeared directly behind them, charging its main cannon. Myra's breath stopped. Jump. White light exploded around them. Space folded. Sound vanished. Everything blurred into a tunnel of shifting particles. Then. Silence. Stillness. Stars reappeared in calm patterns. The syndicate ships were gone. Mira slumped in her chair, shaking. Kale crawled into her lap, burying his face against her chest. We're safe, she whispered. For now, LUX-7 replied. But Mira could hear the meaning behind the words. This escape was only the beginning. The ship drifted through a quiet stretch of space, its engines humming softly after the violent jump. Myra's hand still shook as she guided the vessel forward, though there were no enemies in sight. The stars around them shone calmly, as if the universe itself had paused to catch its breath. Kale leaned close to the window, wide-eyed. Mama, everything is so big. Mira managed a weak smile. Yes. Bigger than we ever knew. But fear still gnawed at her. The syndicate never stopped. They never accepted failure. They would search every sector until they reclaimed what they believed was owed. She swallowed hard. LUX-7, how long until they find us again? The AI's voice came through gently, almost apologetic. Hours. Maybe less. Their long-range scanners are powerful. And you carry a contract signature embedded in your DNA. Mira felt cold all over again. So they can track me forever. Unless, the AI said carefully, we unlock something deeper. Mira frowned. What do you mean? The ship's lights slowly shifted from blue to a dim gold. Panels along the cabin floor lit up in a trail leading toward the back of the ship. Kale pointed. Mama, the floor is glowing. LUX-7 spoke again. Follow the golden path. There is a chamber hidden in the lower decks. Jackson intended for you to find it. Mira hesitated. The idea of wandering deeper into this strange human ship, something clearly not meant for Cyrene hands, scared her. But staying put terrified her more. She stood, gripping Kale's hand. "Stay close." They followed the glowing lights through a narrow hallway. The air felt different here, cooler, heavier, vibrating with faint energy. The hum of the engines faded, replaced by a low rhythmic pulse, almost like a heartbeat. At the end of the hall stood a circular door without handles or seams. "It's sealed," Mira murmured. "Place your palm on the center," the AI instructed. She pressed her hand against the smooth surface. A warm pulse spread across her skin. Symbols appeared, thin, glowing lines forming patterns she had never seen before. The door spiraled open. Inside was a round chamber, dark and silent except for soft light rising from the floor. The walls were covered in flowing metallic carvings that shimmered like liquid silver. At the center stood a raised platform surrounded by floating shards of crystal, each rotating slowly in a perfect ring. Kale whispered, "It feels alive." And it did. Myra's gills fluttered instinctively. Something ancient moved in the air, older than the Syndicate, older than the Cyrene, older perhaps than any empire still standing. "What is this place?" she asked. LUX-7 answered after a long pause. "This ship once belonged to the Solaris architects, the oldest known civilization. They built structures across galaxies. Their technology surpasses anything the Syndicate possesses." Mira touched one of the floating shards. It glowed brighter at her fingertips. "But why would Jackson bring us here?" she whispered. "Because only someone with the correct resonance can access the architect's escape vessel." "The what?" A deep hum reverberated through the chamber. The floating crystals rotated faster, generating a spiral of light. The floor split apart, revealing a second vessel rising from below like a phantom lifting from water. It was sleek and narrow, shaped like an arrowhead of pure white metal. Its hull shimmered with soft blue veins of energy, alive, glowing with ancient purpose. Kale gasped. Mira stepped back, overwhelmed. LUX-7 continued. "This is the Phoenix skimmer. The architects built it for long journeys, far beyond Syndicate space. It recognizes the resonance in your DNA." Mira blinked, stunned. "My DNA? But I'm Cyrene. I'm a healer. I have nothing to do with ancient machines." "Not your resonance," the AI said gently. "Your son's." Mira froze. Kale shrank behind her, confused. "Me? Kale carries a dormant frequency," LUX-7 explained. "Something rare, and powerful. The architects left keys scattered through the stars. He is one of them." The room spun for a moment. Mira steadied herself against the platform. Why would an ancient race care about my child?" she whispered. "That answer lies beyond this ship," the AI replied. "But right now, the Syndicate is coming. If they take Kale, they will find a way to use him. To control what they do not understand." Mira felt her fear surge, but something fiercer rose with it. Anger. "No," she said, voice trembling. "No one will use my son." "Then you must board the skimmer," the AI said, voice firmer than before. "The main ship is too damaged to continue. But the Phoenix skimmer will carry you safely through ancient channels only the architects knew." Mira lifted Kale onto the ramp leading to the smaller vessel. His fingers touched the glowing hull, and the ship responded instantly, lights brightening, systems awakening, pathways unfolding. The skimmer accepted him. She followed, heart pounding. LUX-7, will you come with us? "I am integrated with the architect's systems," the AI replied. "I will guide you, but I cannot leave this vessel's core." Mira understood. Jackson had trusted this AI. Now she would too. She stepped inside with Kale. The chamber lights dimmed as the Phoenix skimmer sealed itself, engines humming with a sound that felt like the beginning of something new. "Prepare for departure," LUX-7 said softly. "The syndicate is closer than you think." Mira held Kale tightly. They were running again. But this time, not just for survival. For destiny. The Phoenix skimmer shot through the stars like a streak of white fire. Its engines didn't roar, they hummed softly, almost peacefully, as if the ship itself preferred quiet travel. Mira sat in the cockpit with Kale on her lap, both staring at the passing lights that curved and twisted in strange patterns. "This doesn't feel like normal space," Mira whispered. "It isn't," LUX-7 replied. "We are traveling through architect lanes, ancient pathways hidden between dimensions. The syndicate cannot follow us here." For the first time since leaving the planet, Mira felt her shoulders relax. But only slightly. "So, where are you taking us?" she asked. "To a hidden world. A refuge created thousands of years ago. It lies outside syndicate maps. Outside most known star charts." Kale turned, eyes wide. "A secret planet?" "Yes," the AI said. "A place where rulers cannot reach." Mira wasn't sure she believed such a place existed. The syndicate stretched across dozens of systems. Their influence was everywhere. How could anything remain free of them? Still, she clung to the hope. Hope that somewhere out there, she could breathe without fear. Somewhere Kale would never be hunted again. The lights outside twisted sharply. The ship slowed. A glowing blue mist surrounded them, a nebula shimmering like drifting lanterns. Then, the mist cleared. And the planet appeared. A green world, wrapped in layers of silver clouds. Forests stretched like emerald seas. Huge lakes glimmered with the reflection of two suns. Mountain ranges formed spirals, as if shaped by something far more intentional than nature. Myra's breath caught. "It's beautiful." Kale pressed both hands to the glass. "It looks like Neria, but bigger." The AI's voice softened. "This world is called Haven Reach. Few know it exists. Fewer still can land here. Why bring us?" Mira asked quietly. "Because your son will be safest here, and because Haven Reach holds answers." That part unsettled her. What answers? Answers about Kale? About the architects? About Jackson? She had no chance to ask before the skimmer dipped into the atmosphere. Clouds swirled around the hull. The ship slowed, gliding down toward a wide clearing of tall blue grass that swayed like waves. The landing was gentle, almost silent. The ramp lowered. Warm air drifted inside, the scent of distant rain and strange flowers. Mira held Kale's hand tightly. "Stay close." They stepped onto the soft ground. The grass brushed against their ankles, glowing faintly when touched. The forest beyond shimmered with floating spores that bobbed like tiny lights. Kale whispered, "Mama, this feels like magic." Mira couldn't deny it. But her moment of wonder ended when something moved behind the trees. A figure stepped out. Tall. Graceful. Skin like polished stone with faint silver veins. Their eyes glowed a pale gold, not threatening, but ancient. Wise. Mira instantly stepped in front of Kale, defensive. The figure raised one hand in peace. "I am Saren," they said, voice calm and melodic. "This world recognizes you. And it welcomes your child." Mira didn't relax. "How do you know us?" Saren stepped closer, light shimmering around their body. "Because Haven Reach speaks. It carries memories from those who built it." The architects left echoes, threads of knowledge woven through the forests and the sky. Mira frowned. "What does that have to do with my son?" Saren's glowing eyes softened. "Everything." Kale pressed against her leg, uncertain. Mira steadied her voice. "Explain." Saren gestured for them to follow. As they walked through the clearing, the grass shifted color beneath their steps. Trees formed pathways on their own, vines curling aside as if the planet bent to Saren's will. Or perhaps they were responding to Kale. Finally, they reached a stone arch covered in luminous markings. Saren turned to Mira. Your son carries a dormant imprint, an echo left by the architects long ago. Only one child in an era carries such a mark. Mira shook her head. He's just a boy. Saren smiled gently. All great echoes begin with small voices. Kale looked up, confused. Am I in trouble? Mira dropped to her knees, pulling him close. No, my love. You're safe. I promise. Saren continued, voice soft but sure. The syndicate feels this echo, though they do not understand it. That is why they want him. Why they always wanted him. Myra's stomach tightened. So Jackson knew. Yes, Saren said. He knew more than he revealed. And now he is gone from this time, but not lost. Mira felt her heart twist. Is he alive? Saren looked toward the glowing sky. He is displaced, pulled into a stream that few beings survive. But his path is not ended. And neither is yours. Kale took Myra's hand. Mama, will we see him again? She hesitated. And before she could answer, Saren spoke. You will. Because the echo your child carries, and the fate of the human who saved him, are tied together. The wind picked up, carrying glowing petals across the clearing. Mira held Kale close. She didn't know what destiny awaited them. But she knew one thing. This world was not the end of their journey. It was only the doorway. Night settled over Haven Reach, but the darkness here was gentle, not empty. Soft lights drifted through the air like silent fireflies, and the sky glowed with two moons resting above the silver clouds. Mira sat on a smooth stone ledge overlooking the forest, Kale asleep in her arms. His breathing was calm, steady, peaceful. It was the first time he had slept without fear since the syndicate arrived. Yet Mira couldn't rest. Saren stood beside her, hands folded behind their back, face turned toward the distant horizon where mountains glowed faintly with internal light. Your mind is troubled, Saren observed. Mira gave a tired sigh. Everything you told me, the architects, the resonance in Kale, the syndicate hunting him. I still don't understand any of it. Saren nodded slowly. Understanding will come with time. But for now, you must accept one truth. Your child is part of a chain that stretches far beyond this world. His presence pulls at forces that have slept for ages. Mira tightened her hold on Kale. How can a child carry something so heavy? Because he is not alone, Saren said gently. He has you. And he has the one who risked everything to protect him. Myra's heart twisted. Jackson. Saren turned to face her fully. Their golden eyes reflected the moonlight. You grieve his loss. I don't even know if he's alive, Mira whispered. He vanished in front of me. How am I supposed to believe he'll return? Because the architects do not break their patterns, Saren replied. And neither does destiny. Mira frowned. What does that mean? Saren raised a hand. The air shimmered between them, forming a ripple, like a small tear in reality itself. From within the ripple came a faint echo, a familiar voice. Jackson's voice. Not speaking words. Not calling her name. But a sound, a breath, a grunt, the unmistakable noise of someone fighting far away, trapped in a place beyond normal space. Myra's heart skipped. That's him. That's really him. Yes, Saren said. He is caught between moments, displaced in the fractures of time. But he still exists. The syndicate did not take him. A greater force did. Can we bring him back? She asked, hope and fear colliding inside her. In time, Saren answered. The architect resonance in Kale is tied to the same energy that pulled Jackson away. One day, when Kale awakens the echo within him, the two paths will cross. Mira looked down at her son. His face was peaceful, unaware of any destiny placed upon him. I only want him safe. And he will be safe, Saren said. Haven Reach is protected. No syndicate scanner can reach it. No warship can enter its atmosphere. Mira hesitated. But they'll keep searching for him. Yes, Saren said softly. But they will search the wrong places. For a while, they simply stood together under the quiet sky. Eventually Saren stepped back. Come. There is something you must see. Mira followed them down a winding path into a grove of glowing trees. In the center stood a stone platform covered in ancient symbols. Serena pressed their hand to the surface. The platform lit up. Holographic images rose, shifting stars, spirals of planets, glowing lines connecting one system to another. Mira gasped as a symbol appeared at the center. A symbol she'd seen once before, burned into the hull of the Syndicate ship. The Syndicate knew of this, she whispered. They suspected, Saren corrected. But they misunderstand. They believe the architects left weapons. They are wrong. The architects left keys. The hologram shifted, forming the outline of a small child. Kale. Mira felt her breath stop. What does this mean? Saren turned to her with calm certainty. Your son is one of the last keys the architects made. His resonance can open paths that have been sealed for ages. Paths the Syndicate could use to dominate the galaxy, or paths you could use to save it. Mira stepped closer to the projection, her hand trembling as she reached toward it. I never wanted this for him. I never wanted him to be important. That is why he will succeed, Saren said gently. Because his mother did not seek power, only protection. A warm breeze drifted across the grove, making the holograms flicker like living constellations. Mira lifted Kale in her arms, holding him close. He stirred only slightly, whispering, Mama. She kissed his forehead. I'm here. Saren walked to the edge of the platform. Rest tonight. Tomorrow, Haven Reach will begin teaching you what the architects left behind. Mira nodded slowly, her eyes drifting toward the sky. Toward the stars Jackson once flew through. Toward the place he had vanished. A quiet promise formed in her heart. I'll find you, she whispered into the wind. I don't know how, but I will. The wind carried her words across the glowing forest. Somewhere far away, in the fractured space where time twisted and stretched. Jackson Reed opened his eyes. He heard her voice. And he took his first step toward returning. Mira and Kale were safe, for now. But their story was not ending. It was only waking up.